I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Past Lives is an American-made Korean-American film, distributed by A24, directed by Celine Wong. She's a first-time director. This movie debuted at Sundance, which by its style definitely has the film festival vibe going on. Very natural, very raw film, not Hollywood glamorized in the slightest.
Oh, no.
But that shows you can still make magical movies, and it could be completely grounded, even from a visual standpoint.
I thought this movie was honestly just great. It's just this grounded, down-to-earth kind of movie. Like, I feel like in the Hollywood version of this movie, she would have left her, like her husband would have been this giant monster asshole, and she would have left him to be with the good guy who she was supposed to be with all along.
Yeah, because they really trust me, like they build them like the desire for them to be together is there. Yeah. They even let as many instances in this movie where you think they're gonna go for it in this kiss. Like seriously, like there's literally like a scene with almost basically damn near emotional cucking. Like it's her husband, and the husband understands Korean, a basic Korean, but obviously not enough to really follow the conversation between them two. Hae Sung and Nora, and of course the husband Arthur, they're in a bar, bar in the city. Three of them are together, but them two, they catch up. They're talking for hours, and he's just there, like next to them, like just a third man out. Like it's fucking like, and it's like, damn, I feel like almost cucked, even though not doing anything, it's cucked. Like, because his profession is like love her, like whatever else, and blah blah blah.
They have these deep, intimate conversations with each other.
Intimate conversation, and it was like, but then overall it ended in them realizing that it just won't work. They're just different people with different ideas. Yeah, it's a very human story, very relatable. Yeah. And the thing about it also is like, because of the difference in the way they grew up, it shows you like how location can also play a part in your development and with relationships and everything you look at. Because she's assimilated to American life, so it makes sense that she'll fall for an American husband. Hae Sung, he was born, he stayed in Korea, South Korea, so they look at things a little differently out there, and that kind of impacted how he thinks of her as well, and it just further along the idea, the realization that they just probably won't work. They're different, because they don't embrace the same things that they embrace in America and Korea. Yeah, but overall they still have this similar problems. Like, ironically, Arthur and Hae Sung are very similar. They're both handsome, insecure dudes. They are. That don't really believe in their abilities to a certain extent.
They have absolutely no sense of self-worth.
Yeah, exactly. No sense of self-worth, really. And they both think Nora's character is like, pretty much better, too good for them. Hae Sung's, his insecurity is what drove him away from his girlfriend turned wife. And Arthur, he's insecure a lot of the movie. He's trying to be understandable, but he voices his insecurities. You know what I mean? Like he feels that like, am I like this? We live in a small apartment in the city. You know what I mean? I'm doing all right, but I'm not like super successful. Like, am I like the vision of this American dream that your parents envisioned for you? Yeah. Like, do I live up to that? You know what I mean? And how do I compete with this guy? Pretty much like him as a writer, hearing their stories, like this is like your perfect mate. This is like he's the protagonist. Like, I'm like the side character. Like, how do I compete with that? I don't stand a chance. Like, it's a real conversation. It's like, because the writer makes it so rich, because that's exactly how a writer will probably look at it. Because he's analyzing from a story perspective. He's like, damn, this is like really romantic. So he's coming to these self realizations, and it just makes some real interesting dialogue and real interesting dynamics between the three characters. And then of course, I love they're not just a Korean love film. It's like being Korean plays a part into it. You know what I mean? Like he feels like Hae Sung's character feels like, okay, kind of just like Arthur too, is like I'm an average man who works an average job. I'm nothing miraculous. Why would my girl want to be with me? You know what I mean? Like she can do better.
They both feel the same way. Yeah, they did. Honestly, the more I really think about it, I'm not sure a real relationship between the two could ever really work.
And well, that's what the realization was at the end. They realized that they just won't work. Yeah, maybe in the next life, we probably was together in one life. Maybe we'll be together in the next. It's a way to look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is.
And it's very, very bittersweet, which is what I like. I like bittersweet because bittersweet is very real. Like, this shows you the difference in Hollywood style movies. Like, it shows you. I was telling Nick right after we left. I was like, "Yo, shows me." I told Nick, "This is what," as we walking out theater, I was like, "This is what shows." This movie just shows me the vast difference. It basically showed me how fake Hollywood movies really are, and like this the vast difference between reality and between what Hollywood does. Don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a nice Hollywood flick. And some Hollywood is kind of grounded in reality, but overall it's very embellished, very, very stylized, very glamorized. You know what I mean? Very not grounded in reality, just like Hollywood itself. You know, it's to make you believe a man can fly. That's what it is. You know what I mean? It's not... It's Would It Be Nice by Brian Wilson. You know what I mean? It's not like wouldn't it be nice? Like, that's the song. But like, you know, like... But this is like life. This is life. You know what I mean? It's just real. Like, even like from the cinematography and the style, like it's just a lot of shaky cameras. You know what I mean? Like just like just jilted. You know, a lot of wide shots, so not too much like of the dramatic close ups and shot for shot and back and forth. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's mainly like awkward angle, wide shots. It's kind of similar to Mr. Robot to convey a little awkwardness
At points,
but not to it. But it's like it's similar, like very static, very still, but also sometimes they go shaky. And you know, mainly wide shots, medium wides. You know, and it captured the essence of the city. Like, it feels so real. Like, these like real locations. Like, I feel like I'm really walking through the city. It feels like I could just meet them somewhere. You know what I mean? And a lot of places I recognize because we're from the city, unfortunately. So we really know what it's like. You know?
Yeah, honestly, it really just felt like we weren't even in the theater; we were just outside.
Yeah, honestly,
it really did.
Like, that's how it felt. You know? Yes, basically like through the color grading and the shots and just the overall tone and look and aesthetic and props, everything they do, pretty much the whole mise en scène of Hollywood films. Just usually over glamorize like
definitely
locations and
it does like way more than they do in real life.
And the story is usually not grounded, so it doesn't feel that authentic. It feels over the top. Like in a Hollywood version, just like Hae Sung will meet Nora at an airport or some shit and confess his feelings from a group of people or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh god, yeah.
And they call the whole scene and shit. Yeah, and it's like, no, this is not that kind of movie.
That would have killed this movie if that had that kind of scene in it.
Absolutely.
That would have been so against the tone. Honestly, I'm glad. The film itself does make there was like a nice little Easter egg where they're watching Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind. And honestly...
They talk about it too.
Yeah, they did. They do briefly. And honestly, I'm glad they do because there are some interesting parallels between that film and this one, though obviously that one is more outlandish by comparison because that one has a whole bunch of sci-fi stuff in it. But, this is even more grounded in reality than that, both in terms of plot and also visuals, as they both have similar visual style. This is that kind of visual, but a more modern take on it. I mean, that itself is, you can argue that itself is a past lives movie because they keep forgetting each other and remembering each other. They're basically living new lives, re-experiencing that over and over.
They're really doing it, not like just theorizing it.
Yeah, that's the difference. That we know for a fact they're actually going through it over and over again. This is like, well, I guess it depends whether or not you're into Buddhism. If you're into Buddhism, believe in reincarnation, then I guess you can believe that they actually are reincarnating in this movie, or maybe they are.
But they make you want to believe in it for sure.
Yeah, honestly. Stop! Don't waste your money on films like Indiana Jones or The Flash. Go watch this, please.
Yeah, watch this.
Support good movies in theaters.
I wish Flash was worth seeing, but honestly, it really isn't. But this kind of film, especially if you're a young adult, this is much more your time.
Yeah, it's just such a powerful, impactful film.
But one thing I would say, I would have probably appreciated if they gave more real estate to Hae Sung's character and go through his personal journey in living in South Korea as well, like kind of like a dual main character going through experiences and not just really mainly from Nora's perspective.
Yeah, we are more from her perspective
because we're hearing about what he's going through in Korea, but we're not seeing it.
I think that would have made this movie even better.
Yeah, definitely. But overall, still solid. Yeah. I give this movie a solid 95.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking 97. I really like this movie.
Well, that's really, really high. Okay.
What, like 95 isn't? Come on.
I don't know. I have 97 is like damn it. You know, it's not that far. But I thought 95 was like, you know, like the threshold. I didn't think he's gonna go over 95. But that's me.
Yeah, that's our scores. Anyway, please go watch this movie in theaters. Support good movies. Support your local theaters. All very important, especially in this time of crisis, as we said earlier on the video. And again, hit that like, subscribe button. They're there to be pressed, and we'll have more movie reviews and reactions, a whole bunch of other videos up for you soon. See you next time, folks.
Till next time, guys.